plenty of referees. So we're going to video it. I think you're going to put it on the website, Pat, and we'll go up on the website and we can all learn, and hopefully it'll help us with our man manager. Thanks, Bryce.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I'm a little bit nervous because I've just hit a memory blank that maybe you need speakers to play sound in that. Would that be fair?
No, it all plays through.
Okay, that's good. Hey, we just do the lights, Graham. The reason I wanted to do something on body language was simply this year with the full-time referees, we had a guy called Alex McKenzie who's a sports psychologist, and he's reasonably well known in New Zealand because he runs a program called Coach Accelerator, which is a program that Steve Hansen, Mike Hessen, the new netball coach for New Zealand, Chris Boyd, all those type of guys, they've been on that course. It's a 2 or 3 year program for elite coaches. So he does some work with our refs, and he started doing a session on, or I asked him to start exploring body language. And I shared some of it with Matty, probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I thought it would be useful to share with you guys. So just as a basis, a little bit of theory, which I've just found by researching this myself, a little bit of watching, hopefully some very short YouTube clips, a little bit of group work, and then to top it all off, splitting into groups, and you get 5 minutes to practice a role play featuring body language, good or bad. I'll tell you what your group's doing, and then you come back up the front and act it out. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
So we'll try and keep it moving. So I'm not going to read that out to you because I all know you're intelligent, so read through that. These were the thoughts of an international football referee. Any key words there for anyone that stand out to them when they read it? Or something that resonates with them when they read it? Ian?
I like that little one, glance. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Just a little glance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glance, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Anyone else?
Respect.
Respect? Whereabouts? Yep. So if you go out with an arrogant, dictatorial attitude, it's very difficult to be accepted and win respect. And I suppose we all can understand what that means. You know, often referees can be called school teachers, or you're like Hitler, or you're like a bloody policeman. And that may be not necessarily that we're refereeing the rules of the game, which is our job, but it may be about the way we're communicating our body language and how we're actually coming across to them. Because what do you think most players want to be treated like? Just an adult, just a normal bloke. And they just want to see you as a normal bloke. And that's the challenge. Steve?
Communicate well.
Communicate well, yeah. So that was the thoughts, and I think that was really sound. A sports psychologist, read that through. What stands out there, Phil?
The right balance.
The right balance? Yep.
Establish relationships.
Establish relationships? Yep, awesome. Brett?
Human side.
The human side? Yep. And what do you think that means by, or even the referee's human side if a player is injured? Well, what are they getting at?
Compassion.
Empathy, compassion. Not that difficult. You have a foul play incident and someone ends up on the ground injured. Maybe it's a big collision in the air, which is pretty common nowadays, and a guy's ending up, boom, out on the ground. It wouldn't be that difficult to blow time out, stop the game, perhaps spread out the teams, and then spend the first 30 seconds of your time with the injured player. Because normally someone would have run out there as a medic or a physio or a water carrier, and all you might need to do is show the other 29 players that at the moment this is the most important person and their welfare. And an example of this in Super Rugby a few weeks ago, can't remember the game, Mike Fraser was the referee, Stormers versus Western Force I think. Collision in the air, player jumps up to catch the ball, his hip hits the player who's standing on the ground waiting to catch the ball and knocks him out, straight on the ground. Boom. So he's going to yellow card this guy because he hasn't jumped for the ball, he hasn't protected the guy who has jumped for the ball, the guy's landed dangerously on his side, blah blah blah, process A, B, C. I get that. The guy's lying on the ground. He's got a physio bending down, getting his neck all nice and stable. He's got about 3 other medics around him for quite a long time. Mike goes and checks with the AR, has a quick look on the TMO and looks at the replay. While the guy's still knocked out, he walks over, pulls out his card, yellow cards him. My question to Mike was, what do you think that message was towards the other players in that guy's team? How do you think those players would feel about you? There's their mate lying injured, knocked out cold, and you're waving a yellow card while he's still injured. He's not even leaving the field. He can't even see you. Now, I understand that Mike was, not making a big fuss and just trying to yellow card him, but to me, it didn't show a human side, and it wouldn't have been a great feel for the likes of Scott Berger and those senior Stormers players who probably just thought, Mike, you're not showing any empathy here. Our mate's injured and you're just trying to show your yellow card. Do you not understand the real issue here? So I discussed with Mike, look, I don't have an issue with the decision you made. Some may say, mate, that guy never tried to hit the guy in the ear, so you could have made a rugby decision, but I get what you did. I just don't get the way you did it. So I think that's sort of like coming around discipline, decision-making, communication, and being human. So research shows that when we communicate, roughly 55% of it is through our body language, and as little as 7% is through actually what we say. Now think of that from a refereeing point of view. What do we think our main 2 assets are as a referee? That when we go on the field, we've got 2 things that we use more than anything else. Whistle and voice. That's what we use, isn't it? But they're saying here that only 7% of actually what we say is what study shows is the real key to communication. And then you think to yourself, okay, how much time do I spend on the field talking, yelling, communicating, explaining things? And only 7% of it actually comes down to what we actually say. 38% of it is more effective around the tone of what we say it, and 55% is actually around our body language. Now, when I read this, that's what made me then say, Alex, can you do some research on this for us and do some exploring? Have you got any ideas? Can you come and have a talk to our guys about it? Because I don't think we'd ever considered the way we use our body as an asset on the field. And look, we still have only just touched the surface. So that's probably a reasonably interesting example of English football, where body language is probably in retreat mode. And we would have seen a lot of that watching football, and luckily we don't get a lot of that in rugby. And I don't think we should ever accept any of that in rugby, where players, storm towards us yelling and screaming and things. But it's an interesting picture in body language between the 5 Manchester United players and the referee. So, hopefully now I'm just going to show you a very quick... There's lots of stuff on YouTube, on TED Talks. I don't know, has anyone ever heard of TED Talks before? That has? A TED Talk is something done all around the world They actually have one over in
ASB Bay Park.
ASB Bay
Arena.
Park every
Yeah.
year that you can pay to go to. And what it is people come along and they're normally really well-renowned or interesting speakers, and they speak for less than 18 minutes on a topic. Now some of these people, their talks have been watched 10 million times by, on the internet. Some of these people's talks have become classic talks of all time, like the guy who died from Apple, the CEO, Stephen Jobs, and people like that. There's a lady here, I'm not going to show you, but her name will come up in the presentation, called Amy Cuddy, who's a specialist in body language in the world. Her TED Talk, which lasts about 14 minutes, has been watched 9.7 million times. So a TED Talk is something that is short, sharp. They don't use a lot of PowerPoint and clips. They just use pictures and talk. So it's a real sort of like style of talking. And there's a really good book that I could have bought, but I didn't. And it's entitled something like The Key Learnings from TED Talk. And it's all around how to be a great presenter, which you could use when you're going for a job interview and things like that. They've taken, someone's researched all the greatest TED Talks in the world and tried to pull out the main parts of why they became world famous. So this is a guy who talks about body language. And I watched it the other day and I thought it's a really good basic introduction about how simple things could be.
Good morning. Before we kick off, let's get a bit of light in the room, guys, so I can see the faces. So when I grab some of the participants that we get a little later, we see where you are. That's a bit better. Good. Everybody hold your right hand in front like this in handshaking position. Uncross your legs, take a relaxed position, right hand in front. Now, when I say the word now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone beside you, shake hands as if you're meeting for the first time, and keep pumping till I ask you to stop. Then you'll stop and freeze it, and we're going to analyse what's happening. You got that? You don't have time to think about this? Do it now. Pick anybody and pump, pump. Everybody, pump, 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 pump. Freeze it, hold it, stop, hold it, freeze it. Keep your hands locked. Keep them locked. Person whose hand is most on top is saying, I'll be the boss for the rest of the day. Now, when you meet people for the very first time, the first 4 minutes of meeting a new person, you decide pretty much 80% of your attitude about them, don't you? In fact, it's over 80%. You decide in the first 4 minutes of meeting somebody whether you're going to give them a fair go, a fair hearing, or whether you're going to reject them. And the first thing that's likely to happen is this thing called a handshake. And I'm going to try a couple of the front row here. You get 1 to 3 feelings when you lock hands with people. The first feeling is, that feels pretty good. Actually, I think you and I will get on pretty well. I think we could do business together. I think we're going to get on well. That was a good one. Let's try a second one. Okay. Just check my cash, see if it's still all there. Yeah. I felt a bit intimidated then. Let's try the third one. Yes, you'll do anything I want, won't you? Now, actually, you all had roughly the same handshake, but you do get 1 to 3 gut feelings. It has to do with 2 things. One is the angle of the hand, and second is the power of the hand. Now, I'll demonstrate. Let's get this gentleman in the front row. Can you come and join me up here, please? Yes. Fellow looking concerned. Come up here. Here is your modern Western handshake. Here's how it looks. It's been in this position for about 2,000 years. Now, if you go back 4,000 years to the Roman era, on vases, you would have seen it looking like this. That's its original position. It has several significances. So what would happen is that the troop leaders would meet after battle or training, and they're always men, so this has remained a male activity until recent times. When they would meet, they would do this. If his arm was stronger, it would go something like this, and you'd all say, he's got the upper hand. Upper hand is an ancient Roman expression. Now, if he's got the upper hand, it means his guys get the first crack at the whining, the dining, and the dancing. My guys have to wait. Now, if it goes the other way, my guys get first crack. If it's in the middle, it's 50-50. This was originally done squatting. Now we do it standing, so the fingers are below the wrist instead of above. But essentially, we have the same position. So that's why when the hands lock, if his hand is slightly on top, it doesn't have to be right on top, just a little bit. I'll get a feeling at a gut level. Now we think this is hardwired because you've never been trained to decode this. I get a feeling he's coming on a bit heavy. And he feels like, yeah, I think I can dominate here. If it goes the other way, I feel like, yeah, I got this sucker all lined up, haven't I, huh? So how do you create rapport with a handshake? Here are the 2 rules. First, keep your hand absolutely straight. Second, and this takes a bit of practice, particularly if you're a female, give the same pressure you receive. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say that a 10's a really strong one, and a 1's 4 breakfast sausages, okay? Now let's try it again. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, yours is about a 7. Mine's about a 7 too, so therefore it felt pretty good. Neither got the upper hand, the dominant hand, and that's why at a gut level, we both felt pretty good when we met. You know, I could see the look on your face, you felt okay. Yeah, that felt good. Yeah, that's very good. Now, what happens if you meet someone who's got, let's say this time you're going to give me a 9, and I've only got a 7, so give me a 9 in intensity. Whoa, now the hand will go straight on top. I've got to respond with an extra 20% just to level it up. Because if I don't, he's going to have 1 up on me before we start. He'll know it and I'll know it, but not a word's been said. Make sense? Give him a round of applause. Thank you. Now, there are more connections between your brain and the palm of your hands than any other body part. Did you know this? More connections between the brain and the palm of the hands, including men, ladies, than any other body part. So clearly the palms have evolved as a very important part of human beings, and they are. They make your bed, they brush your hair, they do small artwork, they do handshakes, they play the piano. In fact, they do more things than most other body parts. But here's my question to you. When you're dealing with people where you want to persuade them, convince them, get them on side, you want to get them to say yes to whatever you're proposing, whether it's that job or that date, or just to get your idea and accept it, where are your palms as you're talking? Now, this is something that most people have never considered. Never. You know, after the session, you'll consider it, you'll think about it, and later today, you'll start to realise things about why people respond to you in the way they do that you've never thought about. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the same thing 3 times. I'm going to change only what I do with the palms of my hands. Now, I keep my body fairly still, so I don't use any other body signals to infiltrate this. And I'll keep my voice as close to the same as I can. I say as close as I can because we know that when you change your body language, it's hardwired in your brain to change the way you sound. So I'll try to keep it as close as I can sound-wise. And I'll use exactly the same words, same instruction 3 times. Now, your task is to decide, do you accept what I'm saying? Do you want to do it, or do you reject me? Do you want to fight me, or do you want to go along with it? You want to say yes or no. That's all you've got to do. Okay, we're clear on this? Here we go. First instruction. Now, don't do this, just imagine this is what we're going to do. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask the people who are sitting in these seats here, I'll invite you to come and sit on this side of the room, please, and I'll invite the people here to take their seats. Now, those in the back of the room can come forward to the front, and those of you in the front can sit anywhere you choose. Now, raise your hand if you feel okay about what I'm asking. Who feels okay? Raise your hand. Okay, so just about all of you are prepared to do what I want. You don't even know what it is, but you're prepared to get up and do what I want because you feel like I won't threaten you, I won't intimidate you, Ellen won't make me look silly. This could be a bit of fun. That's what your mind's thinking because I use a signal that appealed to your ancient brain. Let's try the second instruction. Same words, same voice, changing only the palm. Here we go. Now I'm going to ask the people sitting on this side of the room here, I'll invite you to come and take these seats, and the people there, if you can sit over here, please. Those at the back, come forward, please, and sit here. And those in the front can sit anywhere they like. Give me a word that goes with this. What are you feeling? A word. Okay, who feels like you're getting an order? Raise your hand if you've got an order. Okay, think about this. So are you telling me that all I have to do is change my palms from an upward position where you wanted to do anything I wanted without question? Now I've turned it over. Now you're saying to yourself, hang on a minute, this guy's giving me an order. Well, maybe I don't want to do that. I'm an independent. I'll just check it all out. Make me laugh, funny guy. So now many of you are resisting. Let's try the third approach. Now I'm going to ask the people sitting in these seats here, if you can come and sit over this side of the room, please, and those in those seats can sit here. At the back of the room, if you can come forward, please, sit here. And those in the front can go anywhere you like. Now give me a word that goes with this, a word. Not a gesture, a word. I guess that was a word. What are you feeling with this? Well, this is more than an order. This is a directive. You have no choice, and you're an idiot. So we tested this in a very simple way. We've got an audience to sit in a room like this. We've got a speaker to present a proposal. It took around 20 minutes. They had to convince the audience to go along with the proposal. The speaker was instructed to do the same thing 3 times with 3 audiences, same demographic. We just changed the audiences. Now, the first time the speaker spoke, primarily using a palm-up position, like this. So that was the way the proposal would work. And here's the bottom line. It would work for you, sir. It would work for you, ma'am. It would work in Australia. It would work in America. It would work, and that's the way they did it for the first proposal. We moved that audience out, put in a second audience now. Same presentations given to the same demographic audience now, but a different audience using palm down. Here's the way the deal works. There's the bottom line. It would work for you. It would work for you. It would work in America. It would work in the United States and in Iceland. Move that audience out, put in a third one. Now give the same presentation using finger pointing. Here's the way it works. The bottom line's there and there. It'll work for you, you, and you, and America, Australia, and Africa. Now we survey all 3 audiences looking for 2 things. First, with a simple test, how much could they recall of what the deal was about? In other words, we're looking for how much were they listening to the deal as opposed to judging the speaker. Secondly, from a list of adjectives, we asked them to tick the adjectives that best describe how you felt about the speaker. Do you reckon there was any difference? You already know the answer, don't you? You know the answer already without even seeing the results. That the palm-up speaker had up to 40% more retention of the deal than the palm-down speaker. The palm-up speaker had the best adjectives: laid back, friendly, humorous, engaging. As soon as the palms turned over, authoritative, management, telling me what to do, pushing. When the finger came out, nobody could remember much, and they got the worst adjectives about that person. Now here's my question for you. What's your prominent position? You have a dominant position of one of these, and which is yours? Most people have never considered, but you've got one that you are using primarily when you're dealing with others. Now, is it up? Is it over? It's a finger. Now, we know the palm down, historically, is a power signal. There's more power, in fact, 4 times more power in your hands facing down than up. Think of famous examples like Adolf Hitler. The Nazi salute went, "Hail Hitler," and it frightened everybody. How would he have gone if he had gone, "Hail Hitler"? Nobody's going to follow Hail Hitler. That's scary. That's submission. Now, here's the good news about this, that you can change and modify your hand signals with a little practice. Now, when you first start to do this, what happens if later today or tonight you suddenly discover you're a finger pointer? Like you're talking to a few of your friends that are here and you've forgotten all about it, and you're talking and they're watching, looking at your hand. And there it is, hitting these silly idiots on the head, knocking them into submission. Now, the thing about body language, it's an outward reflection of your emotional condition. All body language shows is how you're feeling. Whatever attitude or emotion you're feeling is likely to be reflected in a gesture, movement, or posture. Now, the reverse is true as well. If you intentionally take certain positions or postures, then you'll start to feel the emotions that go with it. For example, everybody copy this. It's like a form of praying. Just lightly tap it back and forth. Now, put a little smile on your face. No teeth. Call out your attitude. How do you feel when you do this? Yeah, you're hatching a good plan, aren't you? You're pretty smart. You are in charge. In fact, the word that goes with this is confidence. If you're feeling confident, like, I know what I'm talking about, I'm in charge, I'm an expert. This is one that may appear, you may unconsciously use it. But if you intentionally use this in situations where you're feeling tense or nervous, it does 2 things. First is, when you intentionally take the gesture as you just did, you start to feel more confident, in charge. Judge my emotions. Importantly, the person who sees you do it, it's a feeling. You seem to know what you're about. You know what it was? You know, when I first met that guy or that woman, they just seemed to have a confident attitude. Well, no, they were probably intentionally doing it to create that, to reassure themselves and to make you feel good. Fake it until you make it. Now, if you keep on doing this as part of your repertoire, eventually you will constantly, when you do this, you will feel confident about what you're talking about, even when you don't. So you can go into politics. So here's my question for you. What is your dominant position? Palm up, palm over, finger point. Think about life today, in business and personal relationships. It's all first about people. Does somebody buy you? Now, if somebody buys you, particularly the first 4 minutes, they're forming up to 90% of their opinion about you. If they buy you, there's a good chance they'll buy whatever goes with you. What goes with you is what you want them to do. The other thing is also true. If they don't buy you, they're not going to buy whatever goes with you, even if it's a good idea. They don't get that connection. They feel that you don't like them, or you're threatening or intimidating. Suddenly they just don't want to say yes to whatever you're suggesting, even if this is a good idea. So you can practice palms up where you want to get cooperation. Now, sometimes you might want a bit of authority. you'll turn the palm over. So for example, if the fire alarm went off in this building, I would say, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to go by that exit, and that exit, and that exit. I wouldn't say, now here's what we need to do. We're going to go, because it'd be every man for himself if I did this. So by intentionally practicing positions, suddenly with the palm up, you'll find that people start feeling like they're drawn to you. In fact, as we've been talking, I've been drawing you to, I've been doing the Obama hug. We want to help the American people. We want you to come here. Yeah, we love you, like your mum or dad cuddling you. Like I think of his predecessor said, we want to help everybody. We want to help you, and you. Body language is an outward reflection of emotions. If you intentionally take certain positions and practice them, it suddenly changes how people perceive you, and it changes your own physiology. You start to feel different about yourself. That's the great thing about it. You can do things on purpose, which gives you a greater chance of getting a yes to the job, the proposal, to the idea, to the date, or better.
Do the lights, Graham? So what are some of the key messages from that very basic thing about when you meet someone, how to shake their hand? What's some of the key messages that you took? Stay horizontal.
Same question?
Yeah.
Mirror the pressure.
Handshake. Horizontal.
Once you pay them $25,000 a year in scholarships, everybody wants to come pay for you. And parents will always come.
All right, horizontal, same pressure. What else was some of the key messages? Who can recall something? One of the things that stood out for me is 4 minutes to make 90% of your impression. So the first 4 minutes you meet somebody, you make 90% of the impression. So I started thinking like that as a referee. How many times do we meet a coach or a captain or a team for the first time and make either a good or bad first impression? Now, some people who have been ex-players, Brett, Matty and others, they'll say, we could tell what the ref was like as soon as he walked into the dressing room. Now, he hasn't said anything to most of them. It's just the way he's walked in, the way he's looked, the way he's presented himself, and the way he's spoken to a couple of people. They either think, man, this guy's going to be great today, I can't wait to get out on the field and play with my mates because this guy's going to let us play, or they're thinking, holy shit, where did this clown come from?
There's a saying you should remember that you never get a second chance to create a first impression.
Yeah. Okay, so first impressions. That was one of the key things that stood out to me. First impressions. My wife always says to me, you judge people too quickly. What she means is I only give them 1 minute, not 4. I'm trying to get better at that. But, you know, I'll often meet someone and just straight away, after a very initial introduction and even a minute maybe standing in a circle with a beer, I'll think to myself, shit, I'm dying to go and get another beer and get him one as well, or I'm thinking, fuck, I'm looking for another group. That guy's a dick. Now I know that that's not a great trait to have, but it's probably coming back to those first impressions. What else? Did anything stand out to anyone?
The position of your hands will determine kind of what people or what you want people to do for you and how they do it.
Yeah. I'd never really considered that before, had you?
No.
I'd heard someone who was a world champion for public speaking saying to me that when you go to do a public speech, before you go, smack your hands together like that and keep them there. And speak like that, and then speak like that, and then always go back to the middle. Because it stops you putting your hands in your pocket and scratching or flicking your pen or wriggling your bit of paper and things like that. That's the position. That's the comfortable position that people like respond to you, and then naturally you probably open up to them and probably use your palms up. He never spoke about palms up, but I get that. What about use of your hands? Did anybody start thinking straight away, I'm a referee, this has got a little bit to do with refereeing, how could I use my hands as a referee? Did anybody take it to that level? What did you think, Matty? What was one thing you thought about?
So I was just thinking about the different situations you find yourself in as a referee and the kind of style of your hands you would use at those particular times.
Yeah. I mean, did anybody start thinking, do I ever point at people? Nico, here. Number 3, come here. Versus number 3, come here, mate.
Get behind
And
the
the different
post.
reaction, eh?
Get behind the post.
Yeah. Get off. You know, even the old big dramatic maybe yellow card. Get off. Versus, I mean, I've never really thought about it. But there are different times that you could imagine you could very quietly just say, hey mate, come here please. And just, you know, Martel Parkinson. Mux, just come here mate. And just wait here please. Whereas if I went like this to Martel Parkinson, 7, get here. He'd normally come straight to me and give me the little kiss as he did. Whereas if I said, 7, stand over here please, he'd reluctantly drag himself there. But he'd probably be feeling slightly different towards me. And I started thinking to myself, as a referee, most of the time I reckon we're operating in this type of stop, hold, hands up type, I'm the boss. And I'm just wondering, I watched Jacko the other day, and occasionally he'll be holding the back line, but he'll be holding them like this, hold. And the one thing they took away from this presentation that we had with Alex, because he showed them this when I came back in the room because I'd missed a bit, and Alex said, guys, is there anything that would be one thing that you all learned? They all went, just use your hands facing up to engage with people. I'd never thought about it before. So non-verbal or body language governs how other people feel about us. The way we use our body, our hands. I like the way how it said it also shows how we're feeling internally, and depending on how we use our hands, and that probably affects the way we use our voice. So it's all interrelated. So what are some non-verbal interactions that we have as referees that are opportunities to make a good first impression or a really good perception? Eye contact? Yeah? Give me an example.
First thing, being the captain, I'll make an effort to, no matter the size or age or whatever. Well, handshake, ain't always got my handshakes, but...
So handshake? Eye contact?
And name.
The way we look when we arrive.
Yep, appearance. I was even thinking, you know, sometimes you drive into a ground, we're normally on our own, we park, and in the distance, 50 metres away when we're getting our bags out, we might see somebody we know, and occasionally it might be, g'day Sid, and we just give them a thumbs up. Now what would Sid think if I went, g'day Sid? He'd think, mate, I reckon he'd be thinking, shit, Bryce is keen to be here, he's looking like he's enjoying it. Whereas if Sid yelled out, g'day Bryce, and I just went, and carried on walking, Sid would probably be thinking a completely different perception. There's fucking Lawrence, you know, big noter, doesn't want to be here. So just the simple wave, thumbs up, sort of like positive signals to people.
Even your standover tactics when you're standing,
Talk me through that.
like line outs, you know, you come to line out, so you're right in the front of the hooker, so you're right in his face, watching the ball, or if you're in a scrum situation, you're right next to the scrum or the halfback, so you're actually dominating the zone.
So space, I'd write in zone. Is that sort of like a bit of a summary? So your presence, yeah, we come to a little bit about that later. So it made me start thinking that there's lots of little positive, you know, messages that we can make to people. Yes, mate?
A smile.
Smile, yeah.
Simple.
Smile, nice.
Finish it nicely.
I'm not a big fan of referees running around the field smiling, cracking jokes to everyone when they're getting 60% of their decisions wrong. I actually think the time to have a smile is after the game when you're having a beer and someone comes and says to you, hey mate, you did a great job today. Now that doesn't mean at times, at the right time, you can't smile to someone, and if you know them well enough, make an appropriate sort of like comment. But I've seen plenty of guys running around smiling all day, cracking jokes, and it's like they don't realise that chaos is happening all around them, but they're having a hell of a time, but they're the only one enjoying it. And I don't know if any coaches have seen that, where people look like they're on top of the world, but every second decision's wrong. I'd actually rather say to people, look, my job's to actually concentrate, but if the appropriate time comes, I will smile, and I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Just choose the right time and be positive.
Silence can often be an effective tool too.
Nice.
You know, if there's a fracas and you're blowing your whistle once,
Yeah,
the referee who blasts is in there trying to, with
Yeah.
one blast, and just stand there.
yeah,
And eventually they'll feel like idiots.
totally agree. Versus rush in there and get in their space.
They'll probably get
Sometimes
snapped
it's
for
like the old bull ring, I reckon.
Yeah.
The more whistles you blow, the more chaos. It
Yeah.
just fires them up.
Yeah.
Whereas if what Phil's saying is, if you just walk away, I always used to try and walk away to open up the vision to see someone running in late.
Exactly, yeah.
And just wait. Sooner or later, depends how long you're prepared to wait, they'll stop. And they'll look round, and if you still say nothing, after a while one of them will come over and say, hey, Phil, you ready to start? And he'll say, yeah, are you? You know, they'll finally come over to you and say, hey mate, we're ready now. And it's like, okay, well now I'll actually tell you when I'm ready. Because, you know, they will stop. It might take a while. They might not stop if the crowd comes in, but just back away a bit further. But I totally agree, silence. Whereas often, as soon as the player says something to us, what do? React. And I always say to even the top refs, you can only communicate with someone if they keep replying to you. If you don't reply to someone, the conversation stops. Yes, Brett.
Maybe even a nod, you know, like when they come up, oh, ref, they're dropping this and they're dropping. Okay, then I'll have a look. You know, you don't have to say much, but even just the fact that you're going to acknowledge what they say is just another small body language.
Yeah, nod, I like that. Because that's sort of like going back to a positive signal, isn't it? You know, you're not shaking saying, mate, you're totally wrong. You're saying, I'll have a look at that.
Even
if you're saying, I'll have a look at that, you ain't thinking you're having a look. I'll have a look at that.
Who refereed, I can't remember now, it was a few days ago, when Dane Coles was going off.
Chris Pollock?
No. Was it Fox last game? Weekend?
Well, no, Jacko was doing that game.
Jacko, what did Jacko say to Dane Coles? But it was quite effective.
So 3 penalties early in that game, and Dane Coles is coming over getting all agitated and saying, what about this? And Jacko said, hey mate, stop talking to me, go and talk to your players. You need to talk to them.
The actual better one was the young guy that did it the other day. The actual better one was the young guy that did it the other day there when he turned around and he said to the Brumbies captain, oh, this is the first time they've actually been down in this 22. Don't come at me with rah, rah, rah. That was actually really good. Yeah, calling for a card. It's the first time you've been here.
So I reckon, what are the non-verbal interactions and opportunities that you get from the time you arrive at the ground to going into the dressing room to actually on the field could be a piece of work that we could all actually just consider over a cup of tea one day and just think to myself, I'm going to make these first impressions, the first time I meet people, the way I use my hands, the way I smile, the way I nod, the way I look when I turn up, they're all going to make a big impression with people. Because we can guarantee if you make the wrong first impression, it's sometimes impossible or it takes a long, long time to catch that up. And I've experienced that firsthand as a referee over the years. Get a wrong first impression made by people, and the outcome is that it may take 3 years of refereeing that team before they finally give you another chance and want to connect with you. So he talked a little bit about standing like this and sort of like bringing people in and the old Obama, and he talked a little bit about Adolf Hitler, which I thought was quite cool. I don't know, has anyone ever studied Adolf Hitler at school? I did years ago. It's quite an interesting human social experiment if you read about and learn about him. What are some other power poses? What does the word power pose mean to you? Give me an example of someone who uses one, or give me an example of a power pose.
Power pose is a head guy.
Show me.
Well, if you're sitting facing someone,
yeah.
Usually you start with a chair like that and I'm in control.
I like that, Gav. And even more so, yeah, that's like, yeah. I saw someone at a referees meeting not so long ago, I won't say who, and there was a table up the side here. There was about 10 people sitting around a room like this. and as the meeting went on, this person was the person in control. They lay on the table like Cleopatra and stayed there for half an hour speaking to the group lying on the table. Now that was a power pose, but it was also really unusual. I hadn't seen it. What's another power pose?
Leaning forward versus leaning back, your arms folded. One's disinterested, whereas leaning forward, you're more engaged and interested.
Okay, nice. Good. I don't know if it's power, but it's engaged, yeah.
That's what the chocolate.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump
Doesn't
figure?
like that.
When he talks, everything's with the,
Is it? Oh, is he a pointer?
he's a pointer. It's sort of like that too.
Is it? I've never actually watched. Oh, nice. I'll watch that. What's Usain Bolt's what does he do? Like the lightning bolt, eh? Or however it is, but he is absolutely. What do people do when they win the Olympic gold medal over 100 metres? When they cross the line? What do? They're like this straight away, eh? The interesting thing is that someone said if you lined up 10 blind people and they went in a 100-metre race, the winner, when they got to the line, would do that. And I've never seen anyone ever do it in their life. They would do that as their power pose. Just naturally, that's what they do. Sometimes you see people who win something and they run around giving it the old number one, but it's that real power pose. What's a low power pose? The opposite to that.
Arms crossed.
So arms crossed?
Arms crossed.
Defensive? I'm even meaning more than just defensive. I'm meaning instead of being powerful, being the opposite to power.
Shoulders slumped forward.
Shoulders slumped.
Yeah.
Sort of like even crouched, like screwing your body up, shrinking.
Like low neck.
Low neck.
Yeah.
Making yourself small.
Making yourself smaller, yeah.
That's what you feel.
That's what you do. Whereas the opposite, the power pose, they're making themselves big, proud. You know, I'm in charge, versus the opposite. What are the type of people that, when we referee games of rugby, that we have to be careful around power and low power poses?
Captains.
I'm not meaning positions and I'm not meaning captains. I'm more thinking ethnic groups.
Samoans,
Okay, explain that.
just cultural, your culture and anything like that?
Yeah. Yep. So if they come to speak to you as a captain or as a player and you're giving them a warning, and Nico's saying earlier he likes to handshake and engage with his eyes, what do they tend to do? They don't want to look at you, do they? Out of a sign of respect, not a lack of respect. Matty, would Māori people be similar in some cases?
No, but I think with the island, like in terms of the islands, I think looking in the eyes is sort of a no-no for them.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why they don't do it. Yeah, so they'll rather look away. Māori would probably look away in terms of more embarrassment.
Right.
Rather that way.
Okay. So what I think we just need to be aware of that not everybody is going to be wanting to look us in the eye, and no, some people aren't going to appreciate it if you say, hey mate, look at me when I'm speaking to you. Well mate, in my culture I don't look at people when I'm getting told off, or when I'm embarrassed.
Some
Because
referees don't do
they are looking at you as a higher ranked person.
Yeah.
So therefore, I must show respect.
Yeah.
Some referees aren't like that either, though. They don't look at people intentionally in the eyes and things like that. They'll look at some other part of them when they're talking to them.
Like who?
Well, just like general referees.
On purpose, you reckon?
I'd
Or
say
they just-
that sometimes they just probably haven't really got the communication side of things. So
Right.
there could be someone that's probably a bit fearful of the level they're at,
Yeah.
and it's confrontational.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, and what they're probably feeling inside, Mark, is
Yeah.
not in this, they're not feeling powerful and confident.
No.
They're actually feeling underconfident and even threatened about what they're having to do. And because of that, they're not really engaging, they're not standing up tall, they're not being confident.
Which reflects what they're doing.
Which reflects, yeah, totally. And it reflects the way other people judge them. Yeah. Mark was using his hands with him? Nice. So, how we actually carry ourselves actually governs how we think and feel about ourselves. And if you ever wanted to do a bit of learning at home, Amy Cuddy, Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are, 9.7 million views. She's like the world expert. we haven't got time tonight, but it's another 15, 16 minute TED talk where she talks about the power of body language. And it's a real easy, she's like a world expert if people talk about body language. It's just a couple of photos of the fastest man in the world. And if you go on and Google, I was getting some photos of this to put on the presentation, Usain Bolt. Most of the pictures are him doing this, doing that, doing this, he's an absolute power figure. And most of us would have seen him at a 100-metre start line before the race. When he walks out onto the track, he walks out absolutely full of power poses.
He's confident.
Confidence. He's strutting, man. He's saying, I'm fast, I'm so much better than any of you guys. I'll take my time, I'll make you wait for me. I'll make the judges wait for me, I'll make the starter wait for me. I am the man.
There's an element of arrogance here. But it works.
Well, and do you think he's doing it deliberately?
Oh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Mark, I think you'd admit you can't be an elite sportsman, the best in the world, if you haven't got arrogance or self-confidence and arrogance, and that's just the way it is. You watch Nigel Owens walk out onto a rugby game to referee, he walks out with his own type of swagger and confidence, different to this guy, but he absolutely is thinking he deserves to be there. That's why, that's how he's feeling about himself. Kaplan, yeah, absolutely. Lewis Hamilton, yeah.
What about the Otago Highlanders halfback, old Tanaka? He's got a few power poses, like Jim.
The who?
Tanaka. You know the halfback?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy signals and
right.
Pretty pumped up.
Yeah, I see what you
They all do that. A lot of it's all club related, eh? They all do that. A lot of it's all club related. If they score a try, like,
That's from the All Blacks Southland Wars.
So what we're trying to do as referees really is be effective, confident, at times powerful, but very self-aware about what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build referees at any level of the game. Patton Bay of Plenty, me in New Zealand, Elaine Roland in the world. Effective, confident, powerful, self-aware referees who can handle pressure. And they can remain in control of themselves and the environment in stressful, heated moments. That's what we're all trying to do. Some are better at it than others. The guys who are the best in the world probably have most of that stuff covered off. So at the real crucial times in the game, when everything's turning to chaos, they can still remain self-controlled, but they are also effective and confident and at times powerful. Not necessarily powerful with the way they blow the whistle or the way they yell and that, but just they ooze power and control on the field. That's what we're aiming to do.
A good example of that is Mike Fraser, when he gave out 3 yellow cards in the penalty trials the other day.
Yeah.
He still had control.
Right.
What's going to, anybody else could have possibly lost that.
Yeah. That's the way it came across?
Yeah, well, that's
nice. He never
No, he never lost
he never changed really. Yeah.
Carried on.
Craig should be, he's not a loud person, but he's in control.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, he's not a loud person. No. So, what someone mentioned before about having presence, to me having presence means around these type of words, captivating people, showing you're passionate, showing you're enthusiastic, being authentic and real about who you are, not trying to be someone else, being comfortable in your own skin and being confident. These are sort of like the traits of people that have presence. These are the type of things, if you're passionate and enthusiastic, then that rubs off on other people. Coaches and players see that. This guy wants to be here. It looks like he loves refereeing. It looks like he loves turning up on a Saturday. We like having him because he's always positive. And then just confident and captivating. Because at times, we're just trying to influence people for 80 minutes. That's really our job. Stop doing that, mate. You need to change that. Hey, that's a penalty. You can't do that. That's all we're trying to do, is influence people's behaviour. And as David said earlier, most of it just comes back to relationships. Most of it comes just back to relationships. I just want to show you one other quick YouTube if I can find it.
So what have I learnt by making this programme and during my umpiring career? I do know that when we are confident, we do certain things. We make slow, calm body movements. We make eye contact.
I think it's got to be a left footer, hasn't it? I mean, certainly Ronaldinho's putting it down very carefully as well, but...
We move towards the potential conflict point. We use head tilts, smiles, and understated facial gestures. We use open hands and understated hand movements. And, as long as it's controlled, don't be afraid to use feigned anger to get a message across. In other words, the idea is to use a combination of language skills and techniques to get the optimum effects.
That's the second Dutch player to have quite a long conversation with the referee. Kluivert did so as they came off for the end of the first half. They're a little bit unhappy, never short of a word or two, the Dutch, on those subjects, Trevor.
Well, I think generally they're just it's the frustration of that first 45 minutes. They know the expectancy.
Kluivert to his right, foul, Repkar. Cards coming out. Number 2, Repkar, pushed away angrily by Davids. He's been booked. Finger pointing here, referee right on the spot. And Davids won't leave it alone. In fact, the referee is pushing Repkar away. There's a certain hand on chest there.
The secret is to be more aware of body language in everyday life, at work, at parties, or out with friends. With greater awareness will come greater understanding of the subtleties of body language. Just don't think that you're going to get served at a bar before me, unless you're buying.
Pretender, just laughing and gay like the clown. I seem to be what I'm not. You see, I'm wearing my heart like a crown, pretending that you're still
probably one of the greatest match officials that people ever sort of like knew in our generation. World famous for his big eyes and the use of his control and management. His bald head probably helped a little bit. But just in that very short clip, there were hands up and down, there were smiles, there was body movement, there was anger, there was confidence. You know, there were, we shouldn't be showing, there was the push. I wouldn't recommend that happens on Saturday. But, you know, that was a whole lot, and I'm sure that he was renowned as being one of the best because he did stuff. It's interesting, all the research I've read about match officials and body language, 90% of it comes from FIFA, from football. And all the stuff I gave Maddie, a series of about 4 articles, were all football related. Nothing about rugby and body language. So, just shows. So this is your group task. So I'm going to split you into groups of 4 or 5. You only get 5 minutes. So, Dave, JD, Grant, Gaffer and Phil, you've got scenario 1. You role play in a pre-game front row meeting with the front row and the coach. So one person's the ref, one's the coach and 3 in the front row. And you're going to come in here and act out that front row meeting where the ref uses poor body language as part of his communication and the outcome is poor. Understood? Away you go. Go out of the room and sort that out. Nico, Jamie, Ryan, Alex, Craig. Scenario 2, role play a foul play interaction where a ref uses excellent body language as part of his communication and he diffuses a potential hostile situation and orders the player off. So there'll be a ref, there'll be a couple of players involved in foul play and a couple of extras coming in. Go and sort that out for 5 minutes.
Alex, the ref.
Fred, the next 5 people with Fred or a group of 5 or 6. Role play an interaction with a disappointed and frustrated coach in the dressing room after a match, which shows poor body language by the ref, which actually makes the situation worse. So we might have a ref and a couple of ARs and a referee coach in the dressing room. Knock on the door, in comes the coach. He's angry and frustrated. Someone can act that out, but the referee uses really poor body language in that interaction, and makes the situation worse. Take your group somewhere and practice that. 5 minutes. Next group. Role player half-time chat where you have a captain of a team who wants to query stuff with you, where the ref uses excellent body language, excellent listening, and a captain walks away feeling positive. I'll get you, Maddie, to be in charge of that group. Take 5 people. Ref, AR, referee, coach, and a captain. Do you guys want to do one as well? Yes, you do. You 4, because we've got an actor amongst you. You go and you practice scenario 1 as well. Yep.
Okay, well I'm the referee and we're doing a pre-match inspection with the front row and meeting the coach, meeting the players for the first time as well.
And you're trying to show us some great body language, are you?
No. Negative.
Negative body language?
Negative.
Okay. Okay, let's see how they go. Let's see how Grant does it.
Okay, I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm your referee for the day.
Yeah, I'm coach. Phil's my name.
Right.
It's the front row.
Yeah, it's time for me to do the front row inspection.
Yep.
So,
boys.
There's our front row. Okay. Now I haven't ref Papamara before, but I've heard about you Shipton boys, and I won't tolerate any shit today. So
fuck you too.
Come on, wait. Come on, wait.
Yes, you won't put That's right. So there'll be 3 calls, 3 actions. I'll make a mark. And I'll call crouch. And I expect to see a crouch. Fine. Nice straight arm.
Set.
Yeah. Set. Yeah. That's about it.
Big clap for the boys. So what stood out as his bad body language that he was trying to show us? What not to do?
Showcasing where to come.
Showcasing, come over here, pointing, get over here. Yep. What else did he do?
Put up with your shit.
Put up with your shit. Whacking his watch. This is my time. Hurry up. Handshake. Dominant handshake. 3 in the face. I've got 3 actions. He could have even listed them. 1, 2, 3. So he was doing everything that we just learnt before was probably not the great first impression to make. Team 2. Team leader is? Alex. Tell us your scenario, Alex.
So my scenario is we've got incident of foul play and I'm sending someone off.
Are you using good or bad body language?
It's supposed to be good.
Okay. Okay, where we go?
I've got the ball. What do I?
Yeah, you got the ball.
What's this bullshit? He's just throwing a punch. You just do it. Yeah, Captain, can I speak to you? 7, can I speak to you, please? Can you please go over here? So we've got...
You shouldn't judge me, mate. You shouldn't judge me.
Thank you.
Sit.
Can you please wait? I've got him throwing a punch in retaliation. He's going to send off, okay? Are you sure? Yes. Captain, can you please come over here? 3, can you come over here?
I don't even do anything.
First we've got the shoulder charge, then we've got throwing a punch.
I don't even know.
Thank you for that. You're going to be sent off as well. Thank you.
Well done, Alex. It's hard in the pulse environment. What did we see him do?
Time and space.
Time and space. Used his hands openly. What did he try and do to Ryan?
Yeah.
Bring him over, not overly aggressively.
This wasn't very good.
Eh? Apologised every time for sending them off. I'm sorry I have to do it. But, you know, he tried to do it openly. He was trying to be non-aggressive. And he was just trying to make sure that in a heated moment at least everybody was actually trying to calm everyone down, and naturally, you know, in an environment like that, it would probably take 3 times longer than what it just did then. Okay, group 3. Who's the group leader?
Yep. Rolly is.
Jumping on that one.
Tell us what you're doing, Rolly.
Okay, we've got a ref here. We need to have bad body language. All of us are going to have bad body language while we're talking about the game. And then the coach and his manager's coming in, captain is coming in and going to discuss the game. And we're going to be like acting disinterested.
Okay, so this is an example of bad body language.
Bad body language when the coach and the captain comes in to discuss the game.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we just
Really?
So,
I'm going to go for tea tonight.
Mate, I don't care too much about that. All I know is that there were some pretty bad calls made out here today, and we'd like to worry about it. You've actually just cost us a semi-final, bro. It's bad, that is bad. What about in the 8th minute? That guy's continuously going off his feet, and you pinged us. Where did that come from? Where on earth did that come from? Line out, straight, you might as well have chucked it to us bloody number 12.
Finished, mate.
And you still said it's all
Good
right.
day for tea tonight.
Piglet, you always like that. Jesus, I mean, all I get is this sort of stuff.
It's just not on. It's just, you guys Trey, what are you pitching each other on Monday night? Come on, Sam.
What did we see by the referees in the group of bad body language?
Disinterested.
Yeah, turning away, disinterested, carrying on their own conversation. Didn't really open the circle up to actually invite them in. We probably wouldn't encourage it anyway, but it can happen. What else did we try and do? I saw Brett, what did you see Brett doing with his eyes? Rolling his eyes, all that type of things that, you know, if your kid did it to you, you'd kick them fair in the arse. Yeah, nice work guys. Group 4. Explain what we're doing here, Matty.
So our scenario is, so we're at half time, I'm the ref, my 2 ARs and my referee coach. So we're just having our half-time chat, and we're just having our half-time chat. Over here, please. We're having our half-time chat, and we're going to be approached by one of the team captains that wants to talk to the ref at half-time. Okay.
Positive or negative?
Positive, showing positive actions.
Can I have a talk to you for a minute, please, Ref?
What's that?
Can I have a talk to you about a few things, please?
Yeah, sure. How about we step over here and we'll have a chat over here? How can I help?
Well, number 7's always going off his feet beside the ball down and you're not doing anything about it.
Number 7, Red, is always going off his feet?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I totally understand. I'm happy with what I'm seeing at the moment, but I will keep an eye on it for you. Are you happy with that?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I'll keep an eye on it. If you have any other queries during the game, don't try to come and talk to me at the right time. Okay, and I'm happy to work with you.
Okay. Thanks.
Right, and you're doing well, by the way.
Real life example, because I saw Matty referee a game this year and the captain did come up to him at half time. I can't remember who was on touch. A couple of local guys. And end outcome of that discussion, captain didn't walk away feeling listened to, didn't walk away feeling happy. Matty was okay about it, but slightly, ruffled as well. And the next 40 minutes they had a disconnect, which they may have been able to sort out, if they'd done the half-time better. What did we see Matty doing well? Open, moving away and getting to some neutral space. Mate, sort of like stop the captain thinking it's 1 verse 5. Yeah.
Empathy, understanding.
Empathy, thanks, I understand what you're saying. Maybe he could have, in another world, just explain to me exactly what you're seeing. Let the captain talk, okay, this is what I'm hearing, what you're saying. It's not exactly the way I've seen it, but I understand what you're saying. And then he really tried to connect with the captain again positively. And I really like the way that you're doing blah, 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 And at least the captain would have felt heard. Might not have agreed with him, but he felt heard. He's got a good starting point for the start of the second half. Okay? Because they don't normally come up to tell us at half time how well we're going, do they? No. Okay, was there group 5? Oh yes, the famous local actor.
We're back to the first scenario, and we've all ran through it, and we elected Grant as the ref. That's as the full body man. So we're the front rows, and oh God, so yeah, well, you're best.
That's coming to eye, Grant.
Oh, just take yourself. Hey guys, come in. Oh, sorry. Come on. Hi, Mum.
We're going to screw these guys, aren't we?
Hi, New Zealand.
Nice.
Hey guys, come in. Hey, this is a bit of a waste of time, but listen, we need to listen, we need to talk about this bloody front row shit, eh? Hey, you guys will, hey, you listen to me, eh? You guys will listen to me, okay? Yeah. You do what I want you to do, okay?
Who wants that?
Hey, just be positive in there. Any crap, I'll go to my pocket and get a red card.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean it.
You can red card yourself.
Oh, well, I'll red card a whole lot of you. I don't really care, I know this is bullshit, but this needs to be said. Yeah, whatever. Let's get on.
What did we see?
I rest my case.
What did we see? Come to me, walked in, bad sort of like vibes, turning away from each other, no engagement, negative straight away, you know, and it is an example. Hey guys, I'm sorry to fucking waste your time, but we have to do this shit. You know, it's probably being said on Saturdays. Not in Bayafini, but somewhere. Sorry for wasting your time, guys, but I have to do this shit. You know, straight away, negative message for players, negative body language, you know, does he really want to be here? That type of thing. So those role plays were really just trying to get us to start thinking about some good and bad examples. And what I tried to do was think of things that actually happen. And that's why when I thought of Maddie's one, I actually saw that happen this year. Didn't actually look at the body language, just asked Maddie, what did you talk about? And we just talked about the verbal stuff. But the body language probably could have solved half that problem on reflection. Maddie said to me that he had the same team again, or one of the same teams again this weekend, similar interaction, and he reckons he got a heaps better outcome by
better communication.
Better communication.
Probably better listening, really.
Better listening to the guy, making the guy feel like he was being listened to, and probably a more open body language. Because the way he was feeling was, I want this guy to feel that I'm listening to him, I want this guy to feel positive, and probably because that's the way he was feeling, that's the way he came across. And he said to me, I think for the first time I've probably gained some respect with that guy. It's a good result. Cool.
Cool.
Okay, we'll just wrap it up back in